Okay? So when you see that on your second layer, you can start overlapping a little bit more. That's good.
Pull up.
Okay, you start from the water side again.
The other way?
Okay, maybe we should stop at this point. Are there any questions at this point? Good.
I'll carry it over to your house.
Okay, it can go convex, concave. As opposed to a sharp corner, it's preferred to curve a dike instead of making a square corner. Curved dike is stronger and will... but yeah, it can undulate and it can change direction, but try and keep your curves as gradual as possible. Okay. I went 2 bags. Okay, the 2 bags flush. Okay, or 2 bags, 2 rows flush. Okay, this is going to be the critical one. Okay, hold it.
I'm not finished.
That's pretty close. What you want to do is come back about 1/4 of a bag. Okay?
From the front?
From the front. Okay? So the formula is every odd row you go back 1/4 of a bag. So in essence you will be putting 1 bag less on that layer. And you will give it a slight step-like appearance. That's another advantage of this dike, is that now you're going to use the weight of the water to help. What happens if we build a sandbag that, or a sand dike that's got a straight wall and it's holding no water? What wants to happen to that? Okay? It wants to fall outwards, and it will not take. All you have to do is catch a little bag, pull one little bag out, and the next thing you know is you see a whole series of a dike go. Okay? To prevent that, that's why we build ours like pyramid. Okay? So it will be every odd row we go back 1/4 of a bag, and that means that every time you go back, it will be running which direction? Parallel to the water. And if you can remember at this point, you basically could build a sound dike. I'll go a little further just so that it's ingrained in your memory. But if you could get that formula, every odd row, go back 1/4. Okay, we'll place another row, and then we'll flip our pulley. Yeah, sorry, I couldn't see with the sun. Yes, sir. If, okay, you're talking that your dike is on the high ground and the water is lower. The land is sloping towards the water. Okay. If you have a significant angle to where you have concerns that the bags may slide, and they will if they're on grass and they get wet. So if you start getting a substantial slope, what I would recommend is that you drive stakes, steel or preferred probably. I don't know whether you'd encounter frost, but it's very difficult to drive wooden stakes deep enough, because it would be nice if you had pieces of rebar or something of that nature and drive that down about 3 feet, and then do that every so often depending on, because you basically all you're going to hold are these 2 rows of sandbags, right? The ones on the ground? Sure. And so if you just drive some rebar, and just drive lots of rebar in, and then what you can do is use some double 2x4s, 2x6s, 2x8s, and with the wood between the dike and the stakes that you've driven, because basically all you want to do is to keep that bottom layer from sliding forward. Am I correct, Ed? I see you nodding your head, so I thought it was safe to get a confirmation. Does that answer your question, sir? Yes, sir.
What if you're running into a foundation coming out of your building?
I hate this question because it's a no-win. Because if you bring and I apologize for not repeating the question. The question was, if I have a dike and I come up against another hard surface, whether it be concrete, a building, or you're coming up against a wall. Is that correct, sir? Okay, so the end of the dike is coming up against a wall.
You have to go over it.
You can't, to go over it, incorporate it inside the dike, the dike will be weak, and the dike will leak. So the wall's got to go. If it's a fence or anything else, do not run it through the dike. I misunderstood your question. I thought, which is my dreaded question, is what happens if I take my dike and I want to come up against a wall, a smooth wall, and I want to stop it from leaking? What do you think my chances are? Okay, it's going to leak. Some people don't, so what I normally do is either go lower to get in front of the object, build the dike higher. Some people tell me that it's absolutely, they have no choice. If you have concerns, I would suggest that you get a technical survey done by the City of Winnipeg, that you could phone the request in if you've got some real concerns and you think there's a technical problem and that it could leak. It's a little unusual circumstance. Call or any of the Doug McNeil or anybody on front, leave your name, and for those really tough spots that might need a technical opinion, an engineer's look-see to see whether that thing is going to hold. What some people have done is they've taken the poly, and they've taken the poly which is incorporated in the dike, and what they do is they take a poly and they L-shape it, and they go along the smooth shape of the wall, but they go as much as you can. If it's a if you can go 4 feet from the edge, the water side of the dike, 4 feet's good. And what they do is they put some silicone, and they silicone between the poly and the and the hard surface. And then what you do is you pack lots of sandbags all against that. So you actually make an L shape, and you build that really strong because you want to get lots of bags leaning against that poly because you want to hold it against that smooth surface, and you're going to try and stop the water. And I'd suggest that you have a pump because it will still leak.
Back there's the back row.
Don't build dikes on decks, right? Right. Decks go, right?
Decks go.
The gentleman back
Want to repeat that?
Decks go. What part of decks do we not want to go?
Wood deck. Every deck.
Decks have got to go. Yes, sir.
To get to the end of the roll of the poly and start a new roll, how much did you overlap it?
Minimum 3 feet. That also applies for the height. Because if you're utilizing my method, you're going to find that if you've got to go a high dike, you're going to run out of poly before you get to the top of the dike. 3 feet before you get to the end of that, what I want you to do is take another piece of poly, place that one on top, on the water side. Hold the two pieces together, and as you're weaving it through the dike, eventually the old poly will disappear, and then you continue on with the new one. But if you've got a 3-foot overlap, and the way that I've got it snaking in through the dike, she'll be waterproof. That also applies for the end. If you happen to be building a dike and you're going to stop, or say a neighbor has built a dike and you've got to join your dike, it's no time to get lazy. There's only one way to do it. If a neighbor has built a portion of a dike and you've got to add on to it, and I don't know whether you have that situation here like we do like on Scotia, where a neighbor's already, he's ahead and he's got his dike built, now you're forced to have to tie yours in. You've got to pay attention that you do it right. So what you want to do is you want to take a portion of that dike that's already built apart, probably about 4 or 5 feet, depending on how high it is. If it's a smaller one, then you can, but you want to be able to get hold of that poly. Or, if he's listened to one of our seminars and he remembered, I don't want to do what we do tonight. You'll notice that I started at the end of the poly. Think smart. right? Leave 3 or 4 feet of poly. At the price you're getting this poly, okay? So when you start your 2 rows of sandbags, all right, leave 4 feet of poly.
I've been told we have to quit in 5 minutes, go inside.
How far in front of the deck can you build a dike? Can you butt up against the deck?
Do you, okay,
We've got to go 2 feet. 2 feet high.
all right, I'm going to, this one here, this row here should be flush, and I'm surprised that we let Al get away with that. Okay? 2 rows flush. Okay, 2 rows flush. And a secret is you can only go back when you're running parallel to the water. That's the only time you can go back. All right, the question was, if you always run parallel on the ground, you understand now that I can come in on the dry side and I can add, remember I said even rows? So I go and add 2 rows running parallel to the water, and I can come in on the back side, then I put 2 this way, 2 parallel, and I build this dike right up. So now I can make it wider if it's starting to leak, if I'm getting excessive seepage underneath the dike, and now I can build the dike higher and wider. That's why we want to keep you away from something, because if a dike starts to go, you want to add to the dry side of it. Apparently I've got about 3 minutes.
Let's get Ed up here.
And Ed has an excellent suggestion, and I'm not going to steal his thunder, but he's got an idea on how to, I'll just let him get his fancy contraptions here, and I'll advise you right now, he's not witching for water. But what he's going to do, he has an excellent suggestion on how to transfer the height that's been designated by what's been surveyed, and you want to be able to transfer that height from the stake into your dike.
Thank you.
One of the many talented people from St. Phil.
Ed, I'll hold the mic for you.
Okay. On your loft. So there's a strip of wood, and it has an arrow and a horizontal line, and it says top of dike. That elevation has to correspond with the top of the dike. Now, if you have a good carpenter's eye, you can just, or you can use a carpenter's level. And what you do, you need 2 people for this. Well, there's 3 people. I'll hold this. Now, you, let's do it this way. You look over the edge. I eyeball in this bubble so that it's horizontal, and then you hold your hand higher or lower.
Okay, move your arm, sir.
Fingers horizontal.
Lower, 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 lower. There you go.
So, you see, now this elevation has now been transferred to the finger of our taskmaster. And now suppose that your reference mark is not an easy place like this, where you can, on your knees, where you can eyeball it in, but suppose it is down below. Here, it becomes a bit awkward to do that.
Al can do it.
So,
They know you.
if you want to do it easier, you do it with a couple of sticks. And this stick plus the thickness of my level is the same as the height of this stick. See? They are the same. All right. So now, when you give that stick to, so now we do the same thing. Let us say I want to transfer this level, the upper ring of here. I want to transfer that over there. I hold my stick here, the level on top. Oop. Okay, Al, now you look over it again. So, I hold it horizontal, and then,
Right there.
okay. Now, the lower end of that stick is now the same elevation as this one. So you have transferred this down to this. And the only tools are a carpenter's level and a couple of sticks, and you can transfer your levels all over the place.
Way to go, Ed. We're going to get all you people on a bus. We're going to travel all over the world building dikes when this is done. Are we done now out here?
I'm going to get Ed down, and I think, just hold on for a second. All right, Jack's got a quick announcement. We'll be going inside. I'm also going to be inside. If there's any questions that you wanted to ask me.
This is Lisa Firster out here. We're on the Red River right now. We're out here with the harbor master, and we're going to check out some of the right over here that we're looking at over here on this side. Are these people in danger, or what about these large trees over here?
No, the trees are in danger, but no, they should stay because they're pretty well firmly on the ground. Some of them will fall down, but then we lose a lot of trees every year. Anyway, they're organic. They come and they go and they rot and some more grow. We remove all the obstacles in the water, like anything that's stuck in the river so nobody will hit it, any plastics or tanks or barrels or shopping carts. We remove everything, and we have done a good job at it, and everything is gone. But the high water along these banks here, you'll see that there is sandbagging that has been done. You can see some sandbags in there now that they've measured to the height of 26 feet. So it's deceiving as the slope of the land goes up and down. But you can see all this. We're coming to much more sandbags away around Gateway Packers here, and you can see how he's protected his property. That's on the east side of the Red River, just north of the Redwood Bridge. You can see all the diking systems that's been set up, all the sandbagging. There's thousands and thousands of sandbags right along here to protect all these houses. I guess next again.
Will they have to sandbag any higher than?
Well, I believe the engineers have gone down and checked everything, all the levels, and they've built to those levels required. If they have to go higher, then they're prepared to build them higher. We're on Scotia now, along the north, along the Red River north of end of Winnipeg, and you can see the tens of thousands of sandbags. Some are built 8, 9, 10 feet high. You can see some sandbaggers there, probably all volunteers, maintaining it and building it up again. They've just been up by the thousands here. You can see right along. You'll see people working away at it. They've been working here for weeks. It'll probably be an hour. What time is it now?
As you can see, there's a lot of sandbaggers up here, people volunteering to help with the tens of thousands of sandbags that it's taking in this area to keep the water out of these homes along the edge of the Red River. They're all saying hi to us, so give them a friendly wave at home for all these hardy workers here. Are these particularly older homes?
Yes, they are. Their homes probably built in the 30s, 40s, 50s. That is an earth dike around one of the houses and a pumping station. We're at, I just can't remember the name of this particular street, but there's a very large sewer outlet here and a pumping station in case it rains or they can't handle the flow of the water on the other side.
What's that earth dike made of? Just plain earth, or is there clay?
Dirt, just clay, yes, just dug up at probably at the Brady landfill site somewhere where they've been taking it out by the hundreds of trucks every day.
There's hundreds and hundreds of volunteers here. If you folks can see that at home, they're all waving to us. These people have come out to donate their time to help sandbag in this particular area, to help protect these homes from the ever-creeping Red River. It's amazing how many people are out there, and this seems to be a lot of young people out there, so don't think that because you're a younger person you can't help too. Look at all those sandbaggers, all those wonderful volunteers. We owe them a... Do you think that there'll be any flood damage to the St. Boniface Hospital here?
I don't think so. As I say, they're building it 2 feet higher than the expected water, but they have disaster plans in operation, and if they have to evacuate, they're all prepared to do that.
Do you think these folks are going to be kept dry?
Well, let's hope, as long as they've built the sandbagging, the dike system as prescribed, I'm sure it'll stay. Yeah. It's just the length of time that it has to last.
Yeah. That water level looks pretty high right there.
Oh yeah, they're up to the sandbags already, and that'll stay like that, and they'll be about 2 feet above it, and if they have to add to it, they will, and they'll be watched day and night. We're on St. Mary's Road at St. Anne's. There's some civic offices here. They're sandbagging at the rear of it. You see a number of people working there.
It looks like there might be, what, an earth down there too?
No, I don't see any fresh earth. Oh yes, there could be. No, I don't see any fresh earth here, no.
people sandbagging their front of their homes here, getting ready. Looks like it's creeping up. Okay, where are we? What part of the city are we in now?
We're at Kingston Road coming up to the Fermor Bridge, Save-A-Tel Bridge. And there you can see there's sandbagging, and there's some area there. It looks like about 10 feet of sandbags. They're just going around there, and all those kids sandbagging and waving back at us.
This is still down around the Kings Row area. Still a lot of sandbaggers out there working away, trying to keep ahead of the Red River.
Now the boat's been there, and we're coming up towards the Elm Park
south
Bridge.
of the perimeter on Highway 75. We're right in the midst of the building of some new land dikes to shore up the floodway protection. And as you can see, they've been making a great effort. They have all the equipment out here, and there's a lot of manpower, and it's a very busy scene. And we just arrived here to give you an idea, some kind of sense of what is going to be happening in the next few days to try and protect the city.
What we're going to be doing, we're going to be pulling the rails and the ties in panels. Okay, so what we're going to be doing, we're going to be lifting the rails and the ties all together, and we're going to be hauling it north, and we're going to let it down. You see, they want us to remove the rails and the ties so that they can dig the ballast and the gravel down to the clay, so they can make a good seal for the dike.
The process is moving quickly?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like it only takes a couple, cut the rail, undo a couple joints, that's what holds the rails together. Mm-hmm. So it's not a long process to get ready.
South of the Perimeter Highway on Highway 75, and we've returned to this spot. We were here this morning to witness the removal of this piece of track to make way for a more permanent earthen dike. At this point, they're continuing work on the dike, and there is a large amount of machinery and manpower still working at this spot. They are continuing to build the dike up to the highway this evening, and they are waiting for updates to decide how far they are going to have the dike go. Right now, the 75 highway, there's still 2 lanes of traffic left open. Decide how to proceed with this new dike. Plugged in, Flood 97.
Okay, this is Dick Reeves, and we're right now in the background. We have a lot of our sandbaggers who have a lot to do with what's going on. Roy Verbrugge, who they tell me is the man who holds the light while Marcel Lorando chops the wood. Is that right?
I'm not sure about lighting wood, but Marcel doesn't do hardly anything, and I do all the work.
Boy, there you go. There's a proud man. You know what? I'll tell you something. Despite what's happening here, we have to keep our spirits high.
Right.
And
You're
Roy,
right.
I'll tell you, we're in a situation here now. You've got some great volunteers behind you. How many sandbags do you think we filled here in the Fort Richmond Plaza?
How about, what, 10, 12,000?
10,000.
And rolling.
That's amazing. And considering the city's putting out 200,000 a day, and that's on top of what the city's doing.
And this is the kids mainly. As you can see, they are fabulous.
Yeah, good stuff.
Nobody can say that those adults are kind of beating the kids.
When did operation start here?
2 days ago? No, last night.
And
yes.
they run until what time?
As long as they're willing to work. There's lights up there, and we keep right on trucking.
Good stuff. Okay. Obviously, I noticed we got rice bags we're filling.
Rice bags? I didn't know.
And it says made for rice.
We'll fill them anyway.
Well, that's great stuff. Now, Roy, anything you want to say to the public in general about more help, more volunteers?
We'll take more volunteers filling the sandbags. The other aspect is, as time goes along, different areas open up, different requirements are needed, and we play it on a minute-by-minute minute basis. So please come right in, volunteer, and we're also coordinating with our neighbors in St. Patel. We sent about 300 the same thing, and it's been working beautifully. Two communities working together right at this time out of this area.
And what's interesting too is the sandbags that are coming out of here are staying around here.
Richmond, St. Norbert, right where they're needed in this community.
There you go, good stuff. Okay. Now, I want to step over here now. The guy just finally got off the telephone.
I'll get back to you.
Tell him goodbye.
Yeah, I gotta
Say
go.
goodbye. He's got to go. He's on TV now. Okay. And you know, you've been right in here too.
For me, we've been making sure we had all the volunteers out at the proper sites and coordinating the areas, but we'll start making our own to try and supplement it.
Marcel, question. You know, a lot of people are wondering, you know, and you've heard, and what we're trying to do with our Videon and joint effort of Videon and Shaw coverage is dispel a lot of the rumors, because we've got to keep people calm in this time of crisis. There's a lot of people saying that the government's not really telling us everything, that they're just trying to hold back information. Is that so?
No, it isn't. The government, and that's part of what I'm doing right now, is trying to relieve some of those anxieties. We're hearing from a lot of people that they're really concerned. And we're here to make sure that we're going to protect them in the long run.
You've heard all the rumors that are going around. There's a crack in the...
The Duffy's Ditch will work. It has worked, and it'll work again.
Okay, talking about raising now, is there any... there's been some talk about raising the area around the floodway, diking?
We got to be very careful, as the law clearly states that we can't raise it beyond a certain point. I mean, if we raise it above a certain level, we'll flood everything to the south of Winnipeg, and even their ring dikes wouldn't work. So, I mean, that wouldn't make much sense until there was a real crisis for the city of Winnipeg. We've got to wait till that. We can't be driving around saying we're going to do it or can't do it. Let's study the issue and see where it's at.
And again, just to reiterate, there's nothing that's being held back. I mean, what we're talking about as the crest is the crest that's forecasted as of today.
As of today, that is the crest.
Okay.
We've got a foot and a half of free play.
And a bit of good news, too, is the fact that the Assiniboine has crested.
So I just heard about an hour ago. I haven't yet confirmed it.
In the question period today in the House, as of today, the 25th, the statement was made by the minister that the Assiniboine had crested, and the only thing to be concerned about is residual water from the red flowing in up to about James Street.
Yes, but the crest is still with the residual water.
That's exactly right.
Until we understand the full impact of it, I'm not going to say that it's reached its crest.
Well, that's good news. There you go. Well, anyway, hey, listen, I trust you guys, so maybe I'm the fool. I don't know. But anyway, things are going well here for you?
100% the vote at this time, because we've been getting caught up on the bags. And we're sending bags now into the Wellington area and wherever they're being needed. So.
Any message to your constituents?
We can pull through this. The anxiety levels are high. Say a prayer and we can do it together. Thank you.
There you go. Marcel Arando, ladies and gentlemen, MLA, and thank you very much. Continued success.
Thank you.
Good to see you on the line.
Keep the volunteers coming out.
We'll do it. All right, the volunteers, you heard it right there from Marcel. We need you in the Fort Richmond Plaza. The lights are above us. We can fill sandbags right till dark. Plenty of sand here, plenty of bags. They're not running out. And feel free to... Now we're going to talk to some of our volunteers and see how things are going, so we'll just walk back here. Okay, guys, now we got some of the volunteers here at Fort Richmond Plaza. What's your name?
Jonathan Slick.
Jonathan, how many bags you filled today?
None.
Hundreds.
Two.
He can't even keep count there. Guys, what school?
Acadia.
Acadia? Everybody from Acadia?
Yeah!
Good job. And listen, I got a question for you. You guys have any idea how many bags you filled?
I don't know. A lot.
I don't mean individual, but have they given you any idea, any estimate of total number?
No.
Thousands, you know that, don't you?
Yeah.
You guys are doing a great job. What would they say?
They said something about we filled 2,000 bags in 2 hours.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt that a bit. As a matter of fact, we heard that also. So congratulations. Good job. Big cheer for the school guys. Yeah! Gentleman helping us out here with sandbagging operations is Clyde Perry. And Clyde is also a private pilot. And you have your own aircraft. And apparently you've taken a look and surveyed the site from the air.
That's correct, yes.
Do people have any idea what's south of us?
Oh, I don't know. I think some people do. But it was halfway through the city. All I could see was water south of the perimeter, right to the horizon on either side.
To the east and west?
To the east and west. Yeah.
And that is, and you were probably flying at what, 2,000 feet?
3,500 feet.
3,500 feet, water to the horizon.
Yeah, right to the south. It's pretty amazing. Yeah.
So, now I know you're no flood expert. You're only a lay person like the rest of us when it comes to this sort of a problem. But what are your thoughts when you see something like that as far as the city of Winnipeg?
Well, it just seems like it's an island, but what's amazing is all this turnout of these people. It's just really, really incredible because, you don't usually see anything like this, but when all these people are coming out and they realize their city is in danger, even with the, what the floodway is doing and everything else, we still realize there still is a danger here, and all these people out, that's the most amazing thing.
And I've heard so many people say the same thing. Sometimes it takes something disastrous to bring out the good in all of us.
Oh, yeah, I think so, yeah. 75 just disappeared. The river's gone. It's just water.
Can't even make out the river.
No, it's gone.
Unbelievable. Thanks for your time.
Good.
I know you want to get back to work. Okay, that's it. Now we're here at the Fort Richmond Plaza. Let's check things out.
I'm Joanne Cormier. This is Ron Williscroft. We're both with St. John Ambulance in Manitoba. St. John has been active over this last week at the various flood sites throughout the city. We have some 50 volunteers who have been providing first aid coverage at many of the flood sites like Scotia, Greenview, off at Kingston Row. We are finding that most of the emergencies we're running into with people who are busy sandbagging are fatigue-related problems. Most folk are experiencing sprains and strains, blisters, and that kind of any serious casualty. And to date, over the 7 days that we've been there, some 1,200 hours of volunteer support provided by the St. John Ambulance volunteers. I'm going to switch over to Ron, who is going to tell us about what St. John Ambulance, how it's set up its operation, and how we're kind of functioning throughout the city.
Thanks, Joanne. We've actually been set up with an emergency operations center that was mobilized around 10 a.m. on Friday last. We have staffed that location 24 hours a day with volunteer services being provided by management, if you will, of the brigade operations. And we're looking for any brigade members who currently have not been contacted by their superintendents or divisional duty officers to give us a call at our St. John Operations Center at 784-7013, and you'll be deployed to various locations. We have been in contact with the City Emergency Operations Center and Volunteer Services to make sure that we're staffing the areas of need appropriately right now, and we also are in contact with Provincial Emergency Measures, of course, and receiving direction as needed there. Basically, in a standby to escalate, we can be prepared with our resources.
Are you finding that today in particular, because of the rain, that you're using different types of equipment at the first aid sites? I know that when I was at a couple of the sites this week and it was a hot sunny day that, you know, people were starting, it was really warm, and the sandbags, my, are they ever heavy? These 40-pound sandbags.
Right.
What equipment are you using on site then?
Well, mostly it deals with people who are wearing short sleeve shirts, tend to get a lot of abrasions on the forearms.
I noticed that happened to me as well.
Right, so we're trying to make sure that we have enough supplies to take care of some minor cuts and scrapes and that sort of thing right away. Today, because of the rain, of course, we have some concern that we don't want people who have any wounds or anything becoming infected. So we've deployed some of our mobile first aid posts and mobile first aid trailers at the various sites so that we can do treatments inside out of the rain. We also have to be careful right now because it went sort of from very, very hot and people were starting to get sunburned. We have to make sure that our volunteers, as well as the people out there that are doing the sandbags, are warm enough and dry enough to do the job.
Do you think there might be some cases of hypothermia today?
That's a possibility. Hypothermia is a possibility even at warm temperatures if you happen to be very wet and outside for quite some time.
Great. So we certainly expect St. John volunteers to be out in full force for the rest of this flood, and I'm certainly thankful to all of our volunteers who've had an opportunity to go out there and to be of service to the community.
Hi, I'm here to discuss issues related to the risk of sewer backup as it relates to the elevation of the river that we're now experiencing in the city of Winnipeg. One of the fundamental principles of sewers is that as the river elevation increases, the capacity of the sewer decreases. And that's an important concept to accept because it's difficult to understand in many cases. In the city of Winnipeg, I've lost it.
Take a breath. We'll try again.
Oh. Okay, I'll start over again. The risk of sewer backup in the city of Winnipeg as respects rising water levels. Now, one fundamental principle is the capacity of the sewers falls. We were expecting until a few weeks ago river levels to be on the order of what they were last year. That was the forecast. And that forecast is consistent with also levels that we experienced in 1979. Evidence in how the sewer system reacts to that kind of a river level. What's different this year is over the past 2 weeks, the forecast has gradually risen to a point where last year up to maybe 6 to 7 feet higher than they were last year. At those kinds of river elevations, our sewer system has never, system reacts to those types of river elevations. And so the consequence of that is that we really don't understand fully how much rainfall it would take to cause the sewer system capacity to fall to the point where it could not handle that rainfall.
Prepare their homes.
You want me to get right into that, don't you? A backup valve and a sump pit system, the risk of sewer backup in your home is reduced substantially. And if you have that type of a system, the best thing you can do right now is to check that system out thoroughly and get familiar with it yourself. And in terms of the sewer backup valve, in the middle of the front of your basement, you'll find a square piece of plywood embedded in the concrete. And you should take a cold chisel and take that thing out. Take the plywood off with a screwdriver. It will pry out, and beneath that piece of plywood is basically a fitting with a screw-on cap that's about 3.5 inches in diameter. And you might need a wrench to help you with this, but you unscrew it and you take a look down there, and there's a flapper valve down inside that fitting. And if you were to, say, flush the toilet, you could observe down there and watch that flapper move back and forth, and then you know that it's working. So you put the cap back on, you put the plywood back on, and you know, you're confident that you're protected from sewer backup. In terms of your sump pump, it's a good idea to make sure that it's running. Like most sump pumps have been running, and so you probably know that already. But in any case, the easy way to check a sump pump is if you've got a pedestal type, which is a type that sticks above the floor of the concrete, simply raise the lever and make sure that it runs, and when you let go of the lever, it should stop. Also make sure that your hose is running freely, the discharge hose. It'll run outside somewhere. And make sure that it's not plugged by debris or it's not iced up. We had a lot of problems with icing over about 3 weeks ago, but now the ice should be melted. You shouldn't have that problem now.
Should it be running constantly?
No, it shouldn't be running constantly, but we have heard that there are places in Winnipeg where the water table is quite high, where with the snow melt that we're having and the bad drainage around some of the houses, as the snow melts, it comes up against the house, goes down into your weeping tile, and in those circumstances, you'll find that your sump pump might be running every 5 or 6 minutes, which is quite a bit. But
Be running the hose from the sump pump away from the house then?
yes, that's very good advice. A lot of these sump pumps, especially when you first buy your house, all it is a discharge pipe on the side of the house, and it just discharges to ground. And what that'll do will erode a part of the earth along the side of the house and provide an easy path for that water to come back down into your weeping tile. And then all you're doing is you're pumping your water around in circles. So it's a good idea to go to the store and buy a discharge hose and extend that hose. They usually come in 25-foot lengths out to the front of the house. And then that way you know that once you get rid of that water, it's not going to come back on you.
How about drains and eaves troughs?
That's very good advice as well. Your eaves troughs, I guess they're not as much of a drainage issue in terms of the snow melt, but certainly when it rains, you want to make sure that that water gets away from the house far enough that it won't come up against the house again. And that can be a problem with backyard drainage, but certainly wherever you can, direct that eaves trough, put extensions on it. Some people use bricks to brick it up to make sure that it won't go away on you. And discharge that water far away from the house. But make sure, whatever you do, don't discharge it onto your neighbor's property, because then he has to deal with the problem. Find a way to angle that thing over, put a bend in it or whatever, but get it away from the house and leave it away from your neighbor's place.
But not back into the sewage system?
No, not back into the sewer system. I don't know if that's what I really want to say. Oh yeah, the other thing, what if you don't have a backup valve in the sump pump? All houses that were constructed since 1978 in the city of Winnipeg, constructed before that, they may have a backup valve and not have a sump pump, or they may have neither. Well, the important thing is to find out what your situation is, whether you have one or not. If you don't have a backup valve or a sump pump, our recommendation right now is that, considering the increased risk of sewer backup, because of the height of the river, and because we're bound to be at that elevation for 3 to 4 weeks, we're bound to get a rainfall, and we don't know if we're going to get the type of rainfall that we will be able to accommodate with our sewer system or not. If you don't have a backup valve, there's a chance that you may experience sewer backup. You might want to get on the phone right now, call your plumber, have one installed. I think you'll find that it's very late in the game to be trying that now. I think that plumbers are very backed up. I don't know if you'll be able to get one done within the next week or 2 or 3. So our advice under those circumstances, again, is to use reason. It's not a for sure guarantee that you're going to get a basement flooding situation just because you don't have a backup valve. It's a higher risk, but that's all it is. So if you use a little common sense, and if you do have valuables in the basement that are easily movable, we'd recommend that you move them to an upstairs location where they'll be safe. Things such as portable computers wind up in the basement a lot, and they're easy to move to a different location. And papers, filing, you may have your insurance papers down there. So move those up too. Anything that's easy to move, we'd suggest that you move them.
Me and my husband have been living here for 35 years, and we've always seen water. In '79, we didn't have to have a dike, but this year they say we do have to have one. When we bought the house in 1964, we had a dike then, but we still built the house, bought the house, and we water skied on the river. We had a dock on the river. We water skied and done several things, and the children have all left, and we were alone. And all the fun we had, but we're thinking of selling anyways, because we can't look after it. It is very upsetting. We just got back from Arizona on a week today, enjoyed it over there, and we winter down there and come here for the summer, enjoy our yard, plant my flowers. I got a garden, got an apple tree. Now they're sandbagging over my lilies.
How does it feel to have all these people coming out and helping?
Oh, I think it's great, really. I think they're doing a good job. I'd like to thank everybody for coming, and Salvation Army for the food and for everything, and for all the friendly people and all the children. Kids are really helpful and really good. I can't complain. It's beautiful living here. See the muskrat. I just seen a big patch muskrat going by here yesterday. Feeding my ducks down below. And it's sorry to have our yard messed up like this, but fortunately we probably will do some other things, like build a retaining wall here, and we'll have to do it again.
I brought my son and a friend down here tonight to volunteer. They asked if they could participate in the sandbagging going on in the city, and we just called in actually around 6 o'clock, and they said they had a call coming in for 6:30 to assist on Kingston Row, and we thought we'd come down and see what we could do to help out. And when we got here, we were surprised at the number of people already here. When the call had just come in for 6:30, and in fact they didn't know if there was room for them to get into line to help, but they're right at the start there throwing the sandbags onto the pile.
How does it feel to have your sons asked to come down here and do something like this?
Oh, it feels great. I think it's great for them. They're enjoying it. In fact, last night they went out to Scotia Street to see if they could help, and they worked there for about an hour. And I think it's great when the teenagers can participate like that. And then when they suggest it, I know a lot of their friends in school are helping out too, and I think it'll be a good memory for them, and great for them to see the community spirit. They made a lot of friends in the line last night. They were all helping each other, and they were so pumped up they wanted to come out and help again tonight, so I'm very pleased.
Hi, my name is Paul Glue. I'm one of the volunteers here at 83 Kingston Row. We got a whole group of people. We also have 150 people working here tonight. We're building a dike all the way around the house. It's the second time we're raising this dike up. The volunteers are working really well. We're going to increase going to other addresses because they're not tired yet. And I think the volunteers are doing a good job. The young, the old, the ladies, the men, everybody. And that's all I have to say. Just keep helping.
I've been a homeowner for 3 years now, and I'm taking advantage of the incredible Winnipeg help that we're seeing here today. It's the second time we've had to do this now. Saturday we put up 4,000 sandbags. We just had another 2,000 delivered, and hopefully that's going to cover it. This top of dike is top of river height. I'm hoping it doesn't come any higher than that. As most people know, it's not covered by flood insurance, so anything that we can do to promote the water staying on this side of it is what we're going to do today, and the help is incredible. I made one phone call 2 hours ago to the line, and this is what you get, and this is absolutely incredible. There's probably 5 or 6 friends mixed in, and everybody else is neighbors I've never met, and people from all over. I just got cookies from Fort Garry, and we've got drinks from another part of town, and it really just shows the generosity of the people in the city. Same thing, other side of the valley, I'll call it here. These people just moved in. I mean, they didn't know anybody in the area, and they've received nothing but help and generosity from all around. So, if this is a show of what we can expect in a time like this, it really is incredible. And it sounds sort of funny, but this is, it makes you feel good about the city that you live in. So, whatever I can do to thank them, I'm going to do. And unfortunately, mostly it's just saying, shaking a hand and saying thank you so much. But for that, I am grateful to every one of these, and people, if they see it on the news or if they see it in the segment somewhere, thank you, everybody. And you're doing just a fantastic job. Thanks again.
What again?
Hi, my name is Neil James. I'm here helping everybody sandbag, and I go to summer school. I am 8 years old, and if anybody wants to come down and help at
82 Kingston Road.
82 Kingston Road, right here at this beautiful house. Come down and enjoy the fun.